Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me for the next hour to talk about the greatest match in Royal Rumble history, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty well. Snowy little Saturday. It's Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, because I have not had my caffeine yet, so to talk about hockey and Royal Rumble, we're going to have to crack open our Bang. What's up,
Josh?
Unofficial sponsor.
Yeah, Josh has his Bang energy drink today. I unfortunately did not get out to the liquor store this morning for my White Claws, so it looks like I'm drinking tea for today's show, unfortunately.
But black tea.
Yeah, but we are here to talk about NHL today. Let's take a look at last night's slate real quick. I didn't do so well. In fact, I sent a message into the chat this morning. After the first two games finished, I stopped checking scores and I went and watched an episode of Peacemaker, which is like 35 or 40 minutes. And when the episode started, I was at about 3x. And by the time the episode finished, I was completely out of the money entirely. All 20 entries out of the money. I ended up cashing one lineup. I didn't have any Colorado-Chicago game stacks, and the Colorado I had didn't come through enough. How'd you do last night?
So I'm on the right teams. I'm just building just really bad lineups right now, and I feel like the best way to describe what's going on is a baseball player in a slump. He's ahead of the curveball and behind the fastball. Like, I'm on the right teams. I'm just doing stupid things like that you don't realize until after. Like, I did Pitt 1 with Letang, and I had Chicago with them, but I didn't have Kane because I used Letang. So if I left off Letang and used Kane, I would have been fine because he put up like 9,000 DK points. And like the thing is, like, Chicago wasn't even as high owned as we thought they were going to be. They were like reasonable. So if I knew that, like, obviously, if I knew beforehand, I would have just slammed in the Hawks. But you build these lineups going, oh yeah, this is going to be different, and then you realize after, like, well, why did I do that? That I would have been different right way.
Yeah, I think last night is a good illustration of different and unique builds. I checked the top of the 20 max last night, and the winner by like 20 points or something was a game stack from Chicago, Colorado. And I think that's something that we don't necessarily talk about that a lot on the show. We do talk about Josh stacking a fair bit, but game stacking, like tonight's slate, for example, is 6 games. I would absolutely game stack on a 6-game slate. I would even game stack 7, 8. It's once you get to like 9, 10 games, it's you game stack. You need two optimal lines to come out of the same game with no optimals in the other 16 teams that are playing or whatever, like that's whatever it is. So a slate like tonight, I might game stack. It's just trying to figure out where to game stack, right? Like it's not, you're just going to run out and game stack Buffalo and Arizona tonight, right? That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Tonight, what you would do is like maybe game stack Vegas and Tampa Bay, or Edmonton and Montreal. The best times I find a game stack are when you have a super expensive line like Colorado 1 or Boston 1 or something like that, and then a cheap line you want to use on the other side. Last night, depending what you did, you could fit in Colorado 1 and Chicago 1 pretty easily. So I think that's a situation where I game stack smaller slates where there's an expensive line that I want to use. Is there any like kind of parameters that you use for game stacks, or is it just, if it naturally happens, it naturally happens?
It depends, because bigger slates, I'm not going to go game stacking the 5.5 total. Like if there's like a 7 total and 2 really good lines not going to see each other 5-on-5, then yeah, I'm going to consider it. But you always hear me talk about, oh, look at this, it's a 5.5 total, and I love both sides. Like, yeah, I love both sides, but I'm not going to game stack. Like it has to be like a pretty big total, or just 2 lines not going to face each other in a really good spot.
Yeah, I agree with that. Should shout out Robbie. Robbie had a good night last night. I saw went about 8x on the show or on the slate. So congrats to him. I obviously, like I said, I didn't do very well last night. Looking ahead to today, we have an early slate and a late slate. Before we get too much further, we should shout out Yahoo Fantasy. They are our sponsor for today's show. They've been our sponsor the entire season and have been very good to us. So if you want to try out some DFS and maybe you don't want to play against some sharks that you might find on DraftKings or FanDuel, like our good friend Mr. Harris here, head on over to Yahoo Fantasy, play some Yahoo DFS over there. We have a giveaway through them for first-time users, so stick around if you want to get some free stuff from Yahoo a little bit later.
1,000 the first. Jake won it the other night.
I mean, 1,000 at first, if you're just starting out in DFS, that's definitely nothing to sneeze at, right? So
yeah, we have projections. Their site is, pretty easy to upload CSV. So give it a shot, man. It's fun.
Yep, I agree with that. Before we get to the games, if everybody could please throw us a thumbs up in the chat, click that like button, click the subscribe. Those things really help us out, help us look good for our bosses. And make sure you click on the little bell to get alerts whenever we do go live. NFL is starting to wind down. Conference championship weekend is this weekend, but obviously PGA just started. MMAs all the time. NHL and NBA are in the meat of their season. So lots going on here at Awesemo.com. Also, be sure to check out our free premium tools and data. We have free premium tools and data up on the site almost every day, today being no exception. We have NBA ownership rankings and we have our NHL player rankings, both up on the site. So whether you're playing NBA or NHL, just come check out Awesemo.com and see what we have to offer. All right, we have an early slate to get to. We're not going to take too much long on this, maybe 5 minutes or so. Josh, I just want to get your thoughts on this slate. It was 4 games. It's down to 3 games. Islanders, Kraken postponed due to that weather up in the Northeast. Probably a good thing. You and I were talking, I forget if it was yesterday morning or the day before. It wasn't a very good game. We were not looking forward to breaking it down whatsoever. So that's completely off the slate. We're down to 3 games. That starts in about 90 minutes. So probably only the people watching this live are actually going to get a lot out of this. What do you see out of this early slate? We have Anaheim going into Ottawa. We have the Los Angeles Kings going into Philly and Winnipeg going into St. Louis.
Yeah, so Ottawa's pretty banged up. Norris is out. Batherson's obviously out. So the top line is Kachuk, Stützle, Ennis, which moves your boy, Chris Tierney, up to the second line center with my boy, Alex Fermenton, and also my boy, Adam Gaudette. I guess Adam Gaudette's both of our boys. You like Adam Gaudette?
I do like Adam Gaudette. Yeah. I want to say the thing with Adam Gaudette is his development trajectory was really messed up. Injuries. He had a serious, some sort of intestinal disorder or something like that. It's really taken him the last year. He had COVID as well. Like he's one of the guys that got COVID before the vaccines in Vancouver last year. So kind of a rough 18 months for him. Let's see what he can do with it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, in the top six, I know like it's Chris Tierney, but he's going to get some good minutes the next few games. So hopefully he can take advantage of that. I like the Ducks in this game. Norris, Kachuk, when they were in, didn't have great, Corsi numbers, possession numbers, this and that. Moving people around the lineup, it's just only going to hurt them. You want to go to Getzlaf, Terry, Raquel. I think that is A-okay. Like, I really like that line. But then I also really like Zegers, Henrique, Silverberg because, Chris Tierney, he hasn't been DFS relevant much this season. But when he has, we always talk about how his lines are just not great. So getting that matchup is very good. Zegers, Henrique, Silverberg. The problem with that line is, the power play correlation isn't great, but there's a good 5-on-5 matchup. So I really do like the Ducks. You want to go to that Ottawa top line or pick some pieces off that Ottawa second line. I think that's fine. You move down to the Kings Flyers. I mean, the Kings are where I want to go. It's just a matter of how you build because, the Blues are really expensive as usual. Like their prices are still really expensive. The Jets are really, really expensive. Like Kyle Connor is 8,500 on this slate. So you have to kind of be aware, like Pierre-Luc Dubois, 6,800, Cole Perfetti up to 3,700. So like if you're going to use one of these expensive lines, it's going to be hard to fit in like a Kings one or the Getzlaf line is kind of in that mid-range. You may be able to squeeze in a few punt defensemen, but like Kings are interesting to me. You want to go to Kings too, that's fine. Like the thing is like Lawton, Konechny, they have pretty good numbers together. It was Lindblom up there. Now it's James Van Riemsdyk. I feel like that might be advantage Kings there. So I think, the Kings top six is in play. I think Flyers, it's kind of hard to get onto Flyers here. The Kopitar line with Iafallo Kempe has been very good. So, Drew Atkinson, I think I would save that for MME. And then the Jets. Blues, like, I know the Jets have a 2.5 total on the road, and their prices are insane. So, like, we don't have ownership for this 3-game slate yet. I don't know if we will. It blocks in 90 minutes. But, like, it's hard for me to imagine, like, people just going with projections and these Vegas totals jamming in 150 are going to get to much Winnipeg just because of the low total and their high prices. So, I think, playing some of this Kyle Connor, Dubois, Perfetti line is going to come in fairly low owned. They are very expensive. So, I think they're going to be lower owned than you may expect. So getting in the Jets, I think here is, might actually be contrarian. And then on the blue side, we've talked about, Ivan Barbashev, as a center and how Ryan O'Reilly's offensive impacts haven't been great so far this season. But if they're going to get Scheifele and Wheeler, I think, that could be what the doctor has ordered for Buchnevich, O'Reilly, and Barbashev. So I do like that Blues line as well.
Yeah, it's the Winnipeg second line I'm going to bring up immediately. It's because it's for all the reasons you mentioned. It's that I think they are overpriced for their total, but they're a very, very good line. They've been absolutely blowing the doors off the competition this year, and they're going to get that St. Louis 2 matchup. And St. Louis 2 hasn't been good. 100 minutes together this year, 46% shot share, about 51% of the scoring chances. That's not great for a line with Vladimir Tarasenko and Jordan Kyrou. I think that Winnipeg second line can definitely carry some play here. So I do like them as a stack. I like the Ottawa top line as a stack, honestly. Stützle and Brady Tkachuk have generally played well together. They're both underrated defensively, I think. And I think that can help them drive the play back going up the other end of the ice. So I do like Ottawa 1. I do like Winnipeg 2 here as well. I think they're both in good spots. And I think Los Angeles 2 might be my favorite line in the early slates. Like, they're still generating, like you said in the other show, about 4 expected goals per 60 minutes. And once you get past, honestly, I like Lawton as a center. He's not in a second line center in the NHL. I'm sorry. And James Van Riemsdyk's not a second line winger in the NHL anymore either. So like, I think that's big time advantage Los Angeles 2. So Ottawa 1, Los Angeles 2, Winnipeg 2 on top of what Josh talked about. All right, we got to get moving because we do have a whole slate to talk about. But we do have some betting to talk about first. If you are a resident of Louisiana or New York, sports betting is now live in your state. Welcome sports betting to your state with some fantastic bonus offers we have available here at Awesemo. Just click either link pinned in the live YouTube chat to browse all of our offers, including a bet $10, win $200 if any team scores a touchdown in either conference championship this Sunday with BetMGM, and a free NBA jersey if you bet $100 with Caesar Sportsbook. You can also take advantage of a $1,000 risk-free bet with BetMGM and up to a $1,500 match deposit bonus with Caesars in both Louisiana and New York as well. These offers are too good to pass up, so click that pinned link and start betting. Congrats to everybody in Louisiana and New York. It always feels weird to me because I've been sports betting since I was in university. Anyways, let's get to these late slate games. Edmonton has a 3.6 implied goal total going into Montreal. The Habs have a 2.6 implied goal total. Obviously, the big news here is Evander Kane. He signed with Edmonton a couple days ago. I didn't see any power play units in practice, but I did see even strength lines, and he's on the top line with Connor McDavid. The problem here is DraftKings injury pricing algorithm strikes again. Evander Kane is min priced tonight, and I swear to God, if he hits his upside in in Edmonton, he's 3 times that price in 3 weeks. Like, honestly, he's 75. Yeah. He's 7,500 in 3 weeks if he starts scoring like he can. So I'm in this tough spot, Josh, where I know in my head, realistically, the chances of him having a big game here are like 20% or 15% or whatever it is. But it feels stupid to not just slam him in every lineup, considering who he's playing with, the matchup they're in, the goal totals they have, and the performance he's shown historically for his career. Like, I'm in a bind here, Josh. Like, I always say you never have to play 100% of a player. And obviously, if you're playing 150 lineups, you don't have to have 100% Kane. But if you're playing like 3 lineups or something like that, how do you not put him in every lineup? I want to hear your thought process behind this.
Well, we were talking about Evander Kane's price with each other the other day, and we were like, I think 2,500 is better than like 4,100 because DraftKings tried to adjust the price and just butchered it. So I'm in price. Everyone's in the same predicament. You know what I mean? So it's fine. And I'll tell you how. If you have 3 lineups that you don't have to put him in all 3. Arturi Lehkonen.
Thumbs up for me.
Yeah. 2,700 top power play getting, like Evander Kane, very good offensive player. He can skate with McDavid. Like, he's a rare person who could skate with McDavid. Like, he can hang with him. Like, I don't know what kind of condition he's in, but he has been skating a bunch in Vancouver, I guess. So,
I mean, he was with the AHL team in San Jose, right up to Christmas or whatever it was. So
I don't know if these Oiler lines are correct. I know the Edmonton beat writers were projecting lines, but I see in our lineup builder we have Kane, McDavid, Yamamoto, Fogle, Draisaitl, Puljujarvi, and then Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Cassian.
Yeah, those aren't the lines.
Yeah.
The top line is Kane, McDavid, and Hyman, and then Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, Yamamoto on the second line, then Puljujarvi down on the third line. So it's that's the thing here is that top line looks very, very good, and all the wingers are super cheap on DK.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, Montreal, bad defensively. Montreal, terrible penalty kill. And you were talking, I think you put it in our Discord, or we were talking about the slate. I forget which one. It's early in the morning. Haven't finished my bang yet. But you're talking about how Edmonton has been generating an absolute crazy amount on the power play. They've just been shooting at a very, very low percentage.
8% since Christmas on the power play, second in shots in the league.
So, yeah. I mean, 3.9 total on the road of entertainment price, even if it doesn't get power play one time. I think, you do what you do here. You power play stack and you add in Kane, because at some point he's going to end up on that top power play. It's just a matter of time. If he isn't at the start, he will get there. So I think you do what you do normally with Edmonton here. You play the big boys, you add in Kane. You just get different elsewhere. And I think, an interesting way to get different maybe is Montreal one. Like, I think they're going to be popular tonight, but I think what you can do is, add in a Mike Hoffman to get a little bit lower here. It's 2.6 at home, but, Edmonton isn't great defensively. That top line is fully correlated on power play now. Arturi Lehkonen moved to that top power play, which we'll have to see here. He's 2,700. He's a very good pivot off Evander Kane. So I think going to Montreal one here is interesting. You add in Hoffman, you mix and match with Hoffman for some power play exposure, and then you go about your day. So Edmonton power play, I think you got to include Kane. Like, we always talk about like stacking Edmonton without McDavid and Draisaitl. I feel like not adding in a min price of Evander Kane here would just, it kind of feels like when Tarasenko came back and was min price. You just kind of have to do it. You know what I mean? Especially if you're only making 1 to 3. I mean, you don't have to put him in 3 of 3. You can go to Lehkonen or something like that, but not having over the field on Kane here seems a bit silly.
Yeah, I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with my lines. Obviously, if you're playing Edmonton, I think you have to play Kane, right? Like, if you're playing McDavid tonight, you have to play Kane beside him. It feels stupid to leave him off at 2,500. So if you're playing Edmonton, definitely play Kane. The one thing that kind of struck me here is it's both power plays or both penalty kills, are bad. It's not just Montreal's. Like, Montreal's, it's bad. And obviously Edmonton is going to have a considerably better power play than Montreal ever will. But Edmonton's penalty kill has been bad in their own. It's been bottom 10 since the holiday break. So you mentioned Lehkonen on the top power play unit. The entire top Montreal line is perfectly correlated on the top power play unit. So I think I kind of like Montreal one here tonight. Like, I get that there's going to be tons of excitement about Edmonton, and there should be, but a perfectly correlated line coming in at 12K. I don't know if Evander Kane really helps them tremendously defensively. I'm assuming he's better than Kyler Yamamoto or whatever, but I don't know if he's that much better than Hyman or Puljujarvi or anything like that, right? So I think Montreal is just fine. They're coming a little bit overowned by top stacks, but I do like them here tonight. It is about the Edmonton power play, though. I see questions asking about the Edmonton power play. I've honestly not seen anything from beat writers, and trust me, I've been searching. The assumption is that he starts on power play too, but like we talk about a lot, what they seem to be doing with their power plays, and they've done it on and off this year, is McDavid and Draisaitl play both halves of the power play, and then you might have like Kane and Hyman on one, and then Yamamoto and Puljujarvi on the second one. So there's 2 units, but McDavid and Draisaitl play both of them with different sets of wingers. I think that's something that you might see early on, which in that case, there's nothing you can do about it. You stack them with your McDavids and you just move along. If he's off the power play entirely, I mean, that sucks, but you still play him for 2,500. Like, whether he's on the power play or not doesn't matter for that price. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. So if you're playing Edmonton, I think you have to put on Kane as well. On the blue line, like, there's nobody. I'm sick and tired of playing Habs defensemen. I guess Chris Weidman, if you're putting them in with Montreal one, but Evan Bouchard is the guy I wrote up in the Power Plays article. Like, he's playing a ton of minutes lately now that he's on the top power play unit, and I don't see any reason to not stop playing him. What do you think?
Yeah, Bouchard's the guy, and like, if you're looking to put in another player on the Montreal power play, just put in Mike Hoffman. Don't put in Chris Weidman. You know what I mean?
I think Hoffman's on the top power play, though. He's the fourth forward.
Yeah, I'm saying just add him in with Montreal one. Just add in Mike Hoffman. Just, he's going to be way lower owned than the top line. He has ridiculous power play numbers, so I'd rather play 3,900 Mike Hoffman than 2,500 Chris Weidman. Just what it is.
Yep, I agree with everything he said. All right, let's move it along to the next game. New Jersey, 2.3 implied goal total going into Carolina. Carolina has a 3.9 implied goal total. The big news I saw right before we came on the air was about Teuvo Teravainen. Was not at morning skate. Jordan Martinook was skating in a spot on the top line. Now, that with some teams that might seem like a placeholder, but Jordan Martinook has played with Sebastian Aho at times over the last few years, kind of as a third wheel grinder type, like a diet Zach Hyman when Hyman used to be in Toronto. You know what I mean? That's kind of how they used him in that role. So I think you could genuinely see Seth Jarvis and Jordan Martinook on the top line with Sebastian Aho here tonight. And that kills me because like Martinook's fine, but he's not a first line player. And I was looking to slam in some Carolina tonight. Don't know if I want to slam in some Carolina one now. What do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, it's funny because we finally got our first ownership run, and they have the Devils with the 4 total and the Carolina with 2.4. So like the ownership way out of whack for this game. So they need to reverse the totals here, and then we'll see what the ownership is. But I don't know. Like it really depends if Teuvo Teravainen's in or not. Like the thing is, like that Nico Hischier line has been really good. The problem is it's an AHL goalie, and it's just kind of like it's just so hard to. Recently, the Hurricanes haven't been great, but like every once in a while, I get these Hurricane games where they score 6-7 goals and they just absolutely nuke a slate. So, like I don't know, like if it's Gillies, I have a little bit more confidence in Gillies right now than Schmid, but like it's just because Gillies has played more games. The Devils' lines have been pretty good defensively. Again, it's just the goalie hasn't been very good. So if Teravainen's out, I do like this Svechnikov, Trocheck, Netchus line. It is what it is because they're still fairly cheap, and they have a massive total. We'll have to see the ownership runs when that gets corrected, but I don't know. Like I'm not as excited as stacking the Carolina Hurricanes as I am the Edmonton Oilers or even the Montreal Canadiens. It's just like even if Teravainen's in, he's banged up. So like, what do you even do? Like, and then on the Devils side, I like the Hughes, Bratt, Sharangovich line. I just don't know if I'm going to get there. Like the pricing on them on the road in a low total is a little bit expensive for me. I want to see an ownership run because if they're coming in around like 1-2%, something like that, then yeah, maybe I'll consider them. But I just think like until they have Blackwood back, they're fully healthy, Dougie's back, this and that. Like it's just kind of hard. Like the Devils are just kind of treading water right now in this part of the season. So this game just feels uncomfortable to me. Like it's MME for me. I don't know if I'll get to anything in 1-3.
I might. The New Jersey Devils top line is what's interesting me here. And the reason is Carolina's third line has typically been a very good shutdown line over the years, but much like Dallas and Radek Faksa, I think we're starting to see some cracks in it. Carolina's third line this year, 51% shot share in their time together. That's their checking line. Their checking line is a break-even line right now, and that's good. That's what's going to be going up against Sharangovich or Hughes and Bratt at least. And that New Jersey top line has been absolutely blowing the doors off the competition. 100 minutes together, 61% shot share, 62% of the expected goals. I think this is a mismatch in favor of New Jersey one. I get that it's going to be a low total, but I think that's kind of what draws me to them here today is that one, at least 2 of the 3 are going to be on the same power play unit. They've had great chemistry all season long. I think it's a good matchup for them despite being on the road against what is, a cup contender. So New Jersey one, I don't mind as a little bit of a contrarian stack here today. I was looking up their top stacks numbers. They're coming in, basically right on their top stacks. We'll see. Like you mentioned, the totals in our numbers are a little bit reversed. So I imagine that 9% of New Jersey one comes down through the day. We'll see a little bit later. But I like New Jersey one. I liked Carolina one a lot going up against the New Jersey depth. But with Teuvo Teravainen out, I don't know if I like that Carolina one line as much. I think I would just move down to Carolina two. But it is New Jersey one that I like the most in this game now. Now that Teuvo Teravainen was my hat trick pick for tonight. Like, that's how much I like Carolina one on this slate. It really sucks that he's out. It changes up everything for me. So Carolina two, New Jersey one. On the blue line, honestly, it's just Damon Severson for me. I think, assuming Dougie Hamilton doesn't get back in, Damon Severson 4,200 playing a lot of minutes. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, Severson's fine. We're in the Tony DeAngelo predicament again at 6,600. I don't know what to do with him at that price. I don't know if I'd one off him or not. I probably one off Jacob Slavin if I had the 5,100 lying around, but generally the way I build, I don't have that much for my final defenseman spot left.
All right, sounds good. Let's move this along. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you've played in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you'd like to speed up the process of getting access, email support@awesemo.com, and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including tonight's $5,000 NHL Baller and tomorrow's NFL $500,000 Sunday Baller. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right, let's get to this next game. Vegas, 2.7 implied goal total. They're going into Tampa Bay. The Bolts have a 3.5 implied goal total. I believe Nikita Kucherov is still out. He's on the COVID list. I think he has to wait at least one more day. So he's not going to be playing tonight. Max Pacioretty was back in the lineup for Vegas in their last game. I assume Vegas's top line is just going to be rolling right back out. Their top six back to normal. Gonna probably say that there's stuff to play on both sides, even though I think Vegas's total is a little bit low. It is a very good Tampa Bay team with Andrei Vasilevsky in that. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm just a point probably going to see Stevenson, Stone, Pacioretty. I would imagine it'd be kind of silly to send them Stamkos out against that line. That being said, like, if the ownership holds where it is, and obviously it's a long way to go before a lock. If they're coming in like even at 3, 4, 5%, I think you go back to Vegas one here. Fully correlated on the power play, one of the better lines in the league. Pacioretty just came back. Stone kind of banged up still, but like, you got to take the chances on these lines that should be more expensive than they are. Mark Stone 4,900, Stevenson 4,800. Pacioretty came down 600 to 7,800. Like, the price for this line with the ownership is just seems low to me. So I think this is one of those spots where if the ownership's still low, you got to put them in, and just, you live with the results, because generally this line is going to be more expensive and it's going to be higher owned. So this is a really, really tough matchup, but they're going to be low owned. They're underpriced. So you go there. I do like Vegas too here. The price in Marchessault is silly, but they're going to get Stamkos and Killorn, and that's just a really good matchup for them. They're going to be really low owned because they're more expensive than that top line, but they're getting a better matchup. It is Vasilevsky in that, but Vegas top 6 for me in MME. And then, Tampa probably is going to be an MME play as well. It's hard for me to stack Tampa one without Kucherov, especially getting the Stevenson Pacioretty still in line. That is a very good defensive line. So you want to get some Tampa one. I think I'd do it in 20 max. You want to go to that second line. I think that's also a 20 max deal for me. I think power play stacking is fine. I think both sides in this game is MME. Maybe get to some Vegas one or Tampa one in 1 to 3, depending on the ownership through the day and how everything else shakes out.
So while all of what you said is all nice and well, Josh, I'm just reading a tweet here from Jesse Granger at The Athletic, a Las Vegas beat writer, from 2 minutes ago. It says, we are dealing with some COVID testing stuff this morning, so we don't have a lineup yet.
Good times.
Yeah. So as we sit here, like I said, everything he said all sounds well and good, but we could be seeing a completely different Vegas lineup here tonight. Just want to give everybody a heads up. Apparently they are dealing with some COVID testing problems. So, just watch for warm-ups for some line changes. As of right now, I agree with you on Vegas 1. If they're going to come in at 2, 3, 4%, I'm probably going to have 10 or 15% of them here tonight in my 20. I haven't decided if I'm going to 20 max or single entry. I might just single entry. We'll see. But if I was 20 maxing, if I decide to 20 max, they're going to be in the mix, like 10 to, like I said, 10, 15%, because they are an elite line. Since December 1st, 60% of the shot share, 59% of the scoring chance share. They're just torching the opposition. Like you said, it is a tough matchup, but they're not super elite. Like I feel like honestly, I think the matchup might be worse with Kucherov there than Cirelli. I think Cirelli makes a better defensive center than he does a defensive winger. Like that's, they need him in an offensive role on that line. I don't think he's suited for it, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think it's necessarily super tough. So in 1 to 3, I don't know if you necessarily have to. I think you should consider them absolutely. In 20 max or above, I think Vegas definitely warrants consideration, even going into a tough Tampa Bay matchup. On the other side, it's probably staying away from that Tampa second line. Like they haven't been very good, 47% shot share and all that. So I'm staying away from Tampa too. It's both top lines for me in this game, but I like the Vegas top line a whole lot better. You were right. Vegas 2 has really been generating a lot, 75 shot attempts per 60 minutes since the holiday break, but they're also giving it up going back the other way. So I call them a high pace line or a high event line for right now, but they are still generating a lot. I think Tampa 3 could do something here, but I'm not sure I need all those savings here tonight. So I might just save that for another night. So Vegas 1, most out of this game. Some Tampa 1 doesn't hurt as well. On the blue line, Ryan McDonough, 3,700, I believe. Yeah, 3,700 on DraftKings. He's the guy I think is in line for an assist plus the block bonus on DraftKings tonight. What do you think?
Agreed there. Had been very expensive. I think I'd leave him to Tampa 1 stacks or Tampa 2 stacks only. Sergachev, if you have the extra 1,000 shekels lying around and you want to go up for McDonough, I think Sergachev is fine. On the Vegas side, it's the big boys again, and maybe Alec Martinez plays tonight. We don't know.
I don't think he's playing tonight. That was also part of the next tweet. Martinez is not in today, DeBurr said. So
okay,
don't have to worry about him tonight. At least that's at least one concern. We don't.
I got some clarity on that at least.
Yeah, one little bit of clarity. All right.
Nick Hague could be a decent punt then, because I worry about playing like the Hagues and the White Clouds, and then like you have them in the lineup, and then like at warmups, oh, Alec Martinez is on the ice.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like White Cloud, but I usually like playing him in shot blocking scenarios, and I'm not sure that's the case here tonight. So I think Hague would probably be the better choice. All right, let's get to this next game. Toronto going into Detroit. The Leafs have a 3.7 implied goal total. Detroit has a 2.4 implied goal total. The Wings are on a back-to-back. They played last night, but Nedeljkovic had last night off. They were smart enough at least not to play him in this back-to-back and let him just get absolutely destroyed. So he's starting here tonight. Toronto's still going with their split lineup. Matthews first line, Tavares Marner second line, Nylander third line. I didn't see anything significant in the Detroit lineup last night when I was scrolling through on Shift Chart. Shiftchart.com, by the way, a great resource if you want to go. If you want to go check out what the prior night's games were. I saw that Nemesnikov was moved off the top line towards the very end of the game, but it was only like 1 or 2 shifts, so I wouldn't expect that to last. What do you think about this one, Josh?
Like, I just don't like the Leafs top line the way it is. I think I will leave power play stack. And again, William Nylander, very good one off tonight. Some point he's going to have to move back up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the Leafs coaches are going for here, but I don't know. I guess they want Kasha in a top 6 role. They want to leave Bunting. I just don't know. Well, I don't want to conjecture, but I think for me, it's going to be a Leafs power play stack. You want to go to the Leafs top line, it's fine. Just like, I don't want to play Bunting, Matthews, Kasha at 20% ownership. I'd rather have like Matthews with Nylander and Riley or something like that, or even just go to the second line. But like the second line, they've kind of been like, the Tavares Marner numbers just don't stand out. They're going to get the only matchup on Detroit that's worth a damn in Bertuzzi, Suter, Fabry. So like, I kind of like Toronto 3. It just doesn't do much for me. Like Nylander one off again, or a Leafs power play stack for me. On the wing side, there isn't much I want to play on the wings tonight. If you want to go back to Bertuzzi, Fabry, I think that's fine. But other than that, I'm out on the wings.
I want to play some Detroit too. I always want to play Detroit too. The reason why I want to play Detroit too is because Toronto too, they play a very high pace. They are a good offensive line. Don't get me wrong. 63 shot attempts per 60 minutes, 38 scoring chances per 60 minutes, all very good offensive numbers. But they're also allowing 59 shot attempts against per 60 minutes and 30 scoring chance against per 60 minutes in return, which means that they're giving it up at both ends of the ice. So we talk about how the Detroit second line has been a lot better with Bertuzzi there, and it has been. I think you can go back to the Detroit second line here as a filler. I don't love them here tonight. There are other fillers that I am looking towards, and right now they're not even coming in with good leverage. That's the big problem here, is that I thought I might be able to get, a 6 or 7% top 2 stack at about 2 or 3%. That doesn't seem to be the case here. People do seem to be playing Detroit 2 here tonight. So I think I would probably just come in maybe double the field. Like if I was 20 maxing, I might have them in 2 out of 20 lineups or 3 out of 20 lineups or something like that. I don't think there's a need to go real overboard, but they have been good. So I don't mind them as a filler, but it is about Toronto for me. I wrote about Austin Matthews in the Power Plays article, and they're generating less offense than they were with Marner or Nylander there, but they're still controlling a fair amount, 59% of the shot attempts. They're still generating 37 scoring chances per 60 minutes, which is roughly the same as the second line in its current iteration. So I think I want to get to some Matthews here, but I think I agree with you. It'd be some sort of power play stack. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Matthews, Tavares, Riley, Matthews, Marner, Riley, something like that. I think that's what I want to do here, but I would get Austin Matthews in as part of that stack. He's not the guy that I'm leaving off my Toronto power play stack here tonight. On the blue line, there's just no one. These are two teams where I don't typically take a lot of defensemen from them. Philip Hronek, his price is fine at 3,600, but I think that's it seems like it's not an offensive price. You know what I mean? Like, you're not expecting to get 2 assists at 5 shots from him here tonight. You're expecting maybe an assist and a shot block bonus. Is that enough for you at his price? Do you have any interest in him? Do you have any interest in any defenseman here?
I'd rather play Ryan McDonough for $100 more than Philip Hronek all night long. Outside of Riley in correlated stacks, there's nothing on the Leafs side that I want to play either. So, like, if you're playing Detroit 2 and you want to correlate more at Cedar, I guess that's fine. Like, it's not something I'm going to do. One-offing Hronek is fine, but again, I'd rather play McDonough.
And the thing with the Detroit defenseman, just real quick, I was looking at the numbers recently. They're really spreading out the ice time. Like, the only thing that's really separating more at Cedar from like their number 2, number 3 is his power play ice time. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, Jordan Osterley leads them in even strength ice time per game over their last 4 or 5 games or something like that. So, like, I don't think you need to play Cedar if you're playing a Detroit defenseman tonight. I think like just punting with a DeKaiser or Osterley can get you there. I honestly don't know if I want to play 5,400 Cedar in this game, but yeah, like you said, if you're correlating with Detroit 2, I guess there's no problem there. The Awesemo, or sorry, we do have an Awesemo Hall of Fame that we usually talk about, but we're not talking about the Awesemo Hall of Fame today. Today, we're just talking about our great Awesemo Plus tools. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our top stacks, our lineup builder, and a whole lot more. Of course, if you're only looking to play NHL DFS, then you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus NHL packages for as low as $3.95 a week. Please note that Fantasy Cruncher is an add-on and can be easily added onto these packages at checkout, but it is not included in our base packages, though it is certainly a very valuable addition to your DFS arsenal. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. All right, we got 10 games left. Yeah, imagine if we had 10 games left. We have 10 minutes left to get through 2 games. Let's get to this first game. Buffalo 3.2 applied goal total going into Arizona. I was going to say the Buffalo Coyotes, the Arizona Coyotes.
If you said the Buffalo Coyotes, no one would have noticed.
No one would have blamed. The Arizona Coyotes with the 3.0 implied goal total. Arizona played last night. The big note from that was Johan Larsson did not play last night, and that moved Travis Boyd and his line into a top line role. And get their minutes. Travis Boyd played over 21 minutes last night, and Clayton Keller played over 24 minutes last night. That's what one injury, one guy missing out of the lineup did here. Like, they're running on fumes. They have a top 6 that can break even, but missing one guy, everything not fell apart. You know what I mean? They still played well, but it just goes to show where the ice time is probably going to go tonight. I saw Johan Larsson is questionable, so maybe he can play tonight. I'm assuming we're not going to get that answer before lock. I hope we do. We'll see what happens. I wrote up guys for both sides in the power plays article here, actually, and I actually wrote up Arizona as a stack. I think there's a lot to like here, and you're seeing it reflected in the goal totals. What do you think, Josh?
I see the first ownership run, Keller, Boyd, Schmaltz coming in at like 15%.
Just way up there, baby.
Yeah. And then I see Buffalo 1 coming in around 10%, and I love Buffalo 1 tonight. Like, not a, like, okay, 5,500 Skinner, it's just like, but like, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, Jeff Skinner, fully correlated on the power play, going up against one of the worst penalty kills in the NHL. They're on a back-to-back. Their guys played massive minutes. I will say that Vegemelka is a better goalie than Wedgwood, but, you know, if Buffalo is going to come in around 10%, I think it's going to be hard for me to get away from them in 1 to 3. Not really sure the matchup matters on the Coyote side. Like, at best, they're break even. So Buffalo 1 for me. And like, in a vacuum, I do really like the Keller, Boyd, Schmaltz line. But if they're going to come in at 15%, like, I'd much rather just go to Buffalo 1 here. I'll have to see ownership through the day. If Larson is in, maybe that brings it down a little bit. But as it stands, Buffalo 1 for me. Boyd, Keller, Schmaltz for me as well. I just, you know, I'd rather see them at much lower ownership, not on a back-to-back after they played 20-plus minutes.
The thing I want to mention about Buffalo, and one of the reasons why you're seeing such a high total for Arizona, obviously, is all the Buffalo goaltending injuries.
Yeah, Craig Anderson starting tonight.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to mention about that is the beat writers seem to intimate that he's kind of being rushed back from injury. Like, they didn't want him starting tonight. They have to start him tonight. They have no one else to start tonight. It seems like they're rushing him back from injury, and you're rushing back, what, a 42-year-old goalie from injury? Like, I can't see this going well. I mean, maybe it does. Hockey is hockey. Hockey's a weird sport, but like, I can't see that going well for Buffalo tonight. So I think that's why you're seeing so much ownership on Arizona. I do like Arizona 1 a lot here tonight, but I can't complain about people dumping down to Arizona 2 or something like that, just to try to avoid some of this crazy ownership, because they are coming in one of the most over leveraged lines on the slate other than Edmonton. So like, I think you're fine to just play some one-offs off that line as well. Like, if you need a one-off center, not that you usually need one, but Travis Boyd can help. Actually, I needed one last night. So
yeah, I was going to say, if Travis Boyd was on, like, if
He
we
was on the
played
slate
Travis
last
Boyd
night.
yesterday.
I should have. Well, I didn't know. See, that's the thing. It was a late scratch, so I didn't know he was going to be the number one center. I would have played him as a one-off.
Yeah.
But I think Clayton Keller's fine as a one-off as well. On the Buffalo side, it's the top line. I want just very briefly. I want to talk about Alex Tuch because I wrote about him over at Dauber Hockey, which is where I write about season-long fantasy hockey. Now, Alex Tuch's shot rate has actually gone down a lot. And the reason for that is because when he was in Vegas, he was on the third line and he was the most talented offensive player on his line, and it wasn't close, which means he was the guy taking the shots on that line. But now he's on the top line of Buffalo, where both Jeff Skinner and Tage Thompson are proven shot takers. Like Tage Thompson, over 3 shots per game. Jeff Skinner's been a goal scorer shooter his entire career. There's not as many shots around for Alex to take anymore. So I'm wondering if he doesn't transition to some sort of checking playmaker role almost. You know what I mean? And I think you might see that from him. And that's why I think if there's a guy that I want to leave off that stack, it might be Tuch. But I really want to use him as a 3-man here. But like you said, Arizona, terrible penalty kill. No matchups really to worry about. So I like both top lines a lot here in this game. Probably Buffalo more than Arizona, given the ownership, but I do like both. On the blue line, Shane Gostisbehere probably makes some sense given that Buffalo's penalty kill is nothing to write home about themselves. And he is blocking some shots. Rasmus Dahlin is getting up close to 6K. It's playable, but it's starting to get expensive. What do you think here, Josh?
Yeah. This is one of those things, if I was MMEing, I'd make a rule in Fantasy Cruncher, Rasmus Dahlin only in Buffalo 1 stacks. I don't know if I'd one off him. There's other guys that I'd rather one off. I think he's perfectly fine in Buffalo power play stack. Like the Coyotes penalty kill is just not good. So yeah, Dahlin Ghost at 4,500 is fine. It's probably about it.
Yep. All right. We have shows coming up through the rest of the day. We have our NFL Strategy Showdown Breakdown coming up with Greg and Terry at 2 o'clock Eastern. And then at 5 o'clock Eastern, we have our NBA Double Dose starting with your deeper dive with Eitan and Terry. And they're followed with the Live Before Lock with Greg and Lamarca. All right. Final game of the slate. Vancouver, 2.4 implied goal total. Going into Calgary, the Calgary Flames have a 3.3 implied goal total. I wrote up Matthew Tkachuk in the Power Plays article. I think Calgary won. Obviously makes a ton of sense here tonight. If you're looking at our top 2 stack or at our top stacks, they're coming in near the top and top stack, or actually at the top and top stack percentage, and they're still coming in with good leverage. Calgary won, probably going to be very popular here tonight. Josh, what do you see in this game?
Yeah, I'm having a dilemma in my one lineup because I want to play Edmonton power play, but I also really want to play Calgary 1. I think they're one of my favorite spots of the night. Maybe Demko's back, but he's been out for a while. Vancouver, not a great defensive team. So yeah, Calgary 1 for me, definitely heavily considered in 1 to 3. You want to dump down to Calgary 2. I think that's perfectly fine as a filler. They're coming in around 6%, which is lower than they have been. I think that's fine. Don't know how much I'm going to get to on the Canucks. It's just the prices on Miller Besser are fine. The prices on Pettersson, Hagelin, or Garland are fine. It's just that Calgary doesn't have a good matchup. They're very good defensively. Markstrom's a very good goalie. There's other road matchups with similar totals. I'd much rather play New Jersey 1 than Vancouver 1 tonight. It's just is what it is. So I probably just 150 max don't really X anything out. You have a little bit here and there, but 1 to 3, I'm out on Vancouver, heavily considering the top 6 of Calgary.
Did you see what Vancouver did with their power play?
No. Do I want to know?
Guess who's on the top power play now? It's not Alex. It's not Alex.
No.
They're going 3 forwards, 2 defensemen. Oliver and Larson jumped to the top power play. I was like, what is going on? That guy hasn't been able to run a power play in 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, now that I say that, like, he's obviously getting 2 power play goals here tonight. But like the Vancouver power play, I think was the one area where they might have had an advantage here tonight, because the Calgary penalty kill really hasn't been that great since Christmas. But if you're going to tell me Oliver Ekman-Larsson is going to be one of the pillars of their top power play unit, I'm just out. Like, if people want to play them, go ahead. I'll see what the projections look like after the run, but I am out on any power play where Oliver Ekman-Larsson is he's not running things. Quinn Hughes still will be, but I don't want him there. He can't do it. So I'm just out on Vancouver. I like Calgary too as a filler stack here tonight. The ownership is a bit high, but it's nothing extreme. And their numbers are just absolutely bonkers. 64% of the shot share, 66% scoring chance share in 170 minutes together. That's like 15 or 16 games worth, and they're controlling 2/3 of the scoring chances. I think they're gonna run over Vancouver here tonight. So, I mean, Calgary 1, I love them. I have Matthew Tkachuk in the power plays article, like I said, but I think Calgary 2 makes a really nice filler stack. I mean, if we see something different about the Vancouver power play configurations, I think the Vancouver power play stack can get there, but I don't want anything to do with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, so probably don't want anything to do with Vancouver here tonight. On the blue line, real quick, Oliver Shillington, always love playing that guy. Anybody else stick out to you?
Not really. I mean, Noah Hannafin if you can't go up to Shillington, Rasmus Anderson if you're, power play stacking. That's about it, really. Tanev, not too bad of a punt either. He's always live for a block bonus.
Yep, I agree. All right, we got to get out of here. This is it for the NHL DFS Strategy Show. We will be back on Monday, I believe. 3 days, and then it's the All-Star break. So only a few more slates before we get a little bit of a vacation. Before we get out of here, Josh, going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick was a guy that you just slandered, Jeffrey Skinner, and my goalies for tonight are Andrei Vasilevsky, Thatcher Demko, and Karl Vejmelka. Who you got?
I like Markstrom. Let's see. Don't mind Vasilevsky. He's under 8K. Anytime Vasilevsky's under 8K, gotta consider it. Peter Mrazek, 7,400, also in consideration for me. And my hat trick pick. Let's see. Tyler Toffoli.
There you go. Oh, I like it. Representing my boys. Tyler Toffoli, Jeff Skinner are your hat trick picks for tonight. We're getting out of here. For producer Tyler, for Josh, our single entry assassin, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody, and we'll see you next week.